Okay, now let me very quickly ask you that question, right? Are these four revolutions or are these evolutions? Right. The main difference between revolution and evolution, I would say, is that the speed at which it happens. If it is a slow, gradual change, we generally call that as evolution. Happens over generations. Whereas revolutions happen over a shorter period of time, right? Think about French Revolution, right? About 20 years, right? Like generally, right? I mean, that's the term that I suddenly thought about when we say revolution, French Revolution. So French Revolution was about 20 years, roughly, right? Check your history. So speed of change is one major difference between revolution and evolution. Second major change is evolution happens as a gradual change, very gradual change, whereas revolution is a sudden change. Okay, people have not thought about it, whereas evolutions happen gradually, and therefore we get time to understand the implications and get ready for it, and slowly we eventually get used to it, right? Revolutions don't give us enough time, and they give you something that you have never thought about, right? I mean, generally it is said that when Henry Ford designed his first car, people would have asked for more horse carriages, and he gave them a car, right? It is said about the same thing about Apple iPod, right? When iPod came in the market, they essentially displaced something which was not anything like iPod. It was that Walkman, right? Walkman. Remember Walkman? Uh, so that I would say can be classified as revolution, right? Another example of revolution, what I have put here, yeah, restaurant home delivery versus platform. Create something totally new, right? Totally unexpected, even unrequested, right? A natural extension of we eating in a restaurant would have been restaurants offering home delivery, restaurants themselves offering home delivery. We were already doing that. Some of the restaurants used to offer, right? Within 3 kilometers, within 4 kilometers, restaurants used to offer home delivery. Platforms came and essentially changed that entire business, right? Revolutionized it in a very short period of time. Why I don't even though that is one of my research interest, the number of restaurants that have their own delivery system, home delivery system, is much lesser, and the reach of platforms in the food delivery business is much more. So I would definitely classify that as a revolution and not as an evolution. Second is definitely the speed at which changes happen. So what do you think? Industry 4.0, is it a evolution? Is it a revolution? Think about it. And my next slide is really my last slide, right? So in my opinion, in my opinion, it's not a very straightforward answer. Some aspects of fourth industrial revolution have been around for some time, and we are now perfecting it. Some aspects of industry 4.0 are completely new. Now, whether industry 4.0 is a revolution or evolution, if that is the question, I mean, we have already all the literature already calls it as a fourth industrial revolution, so seems to be that the case is settled. If my opinion is asked, I would say it is actually a mixed bag. There are some aspects of industry 4.0 which are revolutionary. I mean, they have completely changed the way we look at producing things. However, some aspects of industry 4.0 have evolved. Certain things we are perfecting. We knew about them earlier. We are perfecting few aspects about it now. So let me give you let me convey my argument through a couple of examples. Let's take 3D printing, for example. 3D printing is an important component of industry 4.0. 3D printing is revolutionizing the way we manufacture things. I would say, yeah, I already said it. It is revolutionizing the way we manufacture things, we produce things. Let us say there was a manufacturer in 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, and if we would have told that manufacturer, you know what, I don't do anything in your factory. I have the CAD CAM design. I will just email it to my friend who has a 3D printer, and he will just get it printed in his office. that guy would have laughed at us, right? This whole business of being able to 3D print something, obviously we are still working on it. Some materials we have shown promise that we are able to 3D print using those material. Some designs are more amenable to 3D printing, some designs are not. So we are working on it. But this idea itself is not evolution. It's not. It has been a revolution in this area, right? We had no clue that something like this is coming, right? So that aspect of Industry 4.0 is, I would say, revolution. The other example of revolution, in my opinion, is this co-creation. Earlier, supply chains were sequential. Supply chains were sequential. So there was a manufacturer, retailer, customer, right? The flow of material was in one direction, the flow of information was in a particular direction, the flow of capital was in a particular direction. Things were sequential. This co-creation has put customer as a mandatory ingredient for all the echelons. So what happened was, there was a manufacturing echelon, there was a retailer echelon, and there was a customer echelon. Now we have taken that customer echelon and attached it to all the echelons in the supply chain, right? So now we are saying that we need to co-create with our customers, we need to co-create with our suppliers, we need to work together. So this sequential idea of supply chain seems to have been challenged, right? Now this is a new idea. This is a way to completely think differently about supply chains. Okay, so again, those aspects, I would say, is a revolutionary idea. Now, some aspects of Industry 4.0 have been around, and we kind of knew about it. And to me, that aspect is something like digitalization, for example, right? We knew about digitalization, right? We knew about digitalization from the time third industrial revolution started. The third industrial revolution, we said, came purely because of development in computers, development in IT, and so on. So digitalization as such is not new to us. But third industrial revolution thought of digitalization as one of the functions in the organization. That's how it started. The way Industry 4.0 thinks about digitalization is, now digitalization is at the core of our business, right? Digitalization is everything, right? Just to say it differently, I would say in the third industrial revolution thought of digitalization as one of the functions in the business. Fourth industrial revolution says digitalization is the business. However, digitalization as such is not new to us. Slowly it has been percolating in various domains. Slowly we have trained ourselves to design digitally, to think all the industrial functions digitally. So slowly digitalization has been getting into all functions. But fourth industrial revolution changed its place and now has kept it right in the middle of everything, right? So that is new, but that, I would say, is not a revolution. That is a slow change that has happened over a period of time. So that aspect of Industry 4.0 to me is evolutionary, right? So once again, answering that debate whether Industry 4.0 or the fourth industrial cycle, you can see I'm avoiding the word revolution. The fourth industrial cycle, is it a revolution? Is it an evolution? It is both, right? Some aspects are brand new, some aspects are just amazingly new, and some aspects have been slowly getting better and better. But for Industry 4.0 has simply changed the focus and put it in a different pedestal, right? That's my take. But the literature, the common language in industry discussions seem to have already settled this debate, and we call the current cycle as fourth industrial revolution, right? But I have briefly explained to you my argument. With that, let me end the introductory session. Hopefully, we have introduced this basic idea of what is Industry 4.0, what is fourth industrial revolution, what are the important components of it, how does digitalization play a role, how is it different from the previous cycles, how industries are going to be affected. This was only an introductory discussion. We are going to have more discussions, more deeper debates about each aspect of Industry 4.0 little later. But let us close the introduction session here, and let me start with the first topic immediately here, which is on data driven decision making. So we are going to take a small example of facility design, which includes facility layout as well as facility location. But let me end the introduction session here and start with that immediately. So I'm ending the discussion here. Thank you.